Hello and welcome back to the Spicy Pisces podcast. I'm your host, Emma Jepson, and I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for joining me today. So today is episode 5, and we're going to be talking about friendships, my red flags in friendships when they become toxic. I feel like I've shifted between so many different friend groups over the course of my life, and I've had so many different friends, some of whom I'm still really close with today, and then other people who maybe only entered my life for a season or two. And I've noticed that in the past, I didn't always acknowledge or notice some more toxic behaviors because I never had a healthy friendship to model after, but I did a lot of reflecting on friendship last year, and I realized that there are certain traits I've often overlooked or thought were a normal part of a friendship in the past that are actually not at all indicative of a truly healthy friendship, and that they really should not be tolerated. And I feel like we place so much emphasis on standards for romantic relationships, but we don't talk enough about standards for friendships and how you don't need to accept shitty behavior from people and settle for toxic relationships that are making you feel worse about yourself rather than uplifting you and exciting you. So today I wanted to share 5 of my red flags in friendships that indicate I either need to have a conversation with a friend about something, set a boundary, distance myself from a person, cut ties with this person, or maybe just not pursue this new friendship any further. So the first one is jealousy. This can be with boys, accomplishments, popularity, etc. And I want to preface by saying that jealousy isn't innately a bad thing, because we're all human and it's human to feel jealous of others throughout our lifetime. It's not something that we can necessarily control, and comparison is just simply part of our brain chemistry as an evolutionary survival mechanism. So the issue doesn't lie in just being jealous simply of something someone has or they accomplish or whatever, but it's more so in how we deal with it and how we work through this jealousy, whether it's in a healthy or an unhealthy way. So healthy could be like journaling, talking to other people, like third parties about this, therapist, family member, other friend, or even just having a healthy and open conversation with this friend about it and what you're feeling, openly talking about maybe that's why you acted a certain way. And the negative side would be just projecting this insecurity onto this friend and making it seem like they're doing something wrong because you feel bad or you feel jealous, and making it seem like it's their fault you're feeling this way. And rather than feel the need to downplay an accomplishment or one-up you with something else that happened to them, a true friend should be able to express genuine happiness for you, and they will want the best for you. And if they're not capable of doing so, then I would suggest reflecting on your relationship with this person and seeing if it actually feels healthy to you. And if the jealousy doesn't feel super regular, then I'd suggest maybe try having a conversation with this person about times you felt hurt because they couldn't be happy for you, and ask if they want to talk about it. For example, maybe you told them you received a job offer from the first place you interviewed with and it was your top firm, and you didn't realize that they were also searching for jobs and they'd been rejected from a couple places, and maybe the same company that you were looking at, they really were like wanted to get a job at as well. And so that hurt them when they realized you got the job and they didn't, or something like that, and you didn't even realize that. So maybe they weren't as excited for you as you thought they'd be. So maybe you could try to have a conversation with this person about how they were envious about this, and just hearing each person's side, and then try to work on being more supportive of each other in the future and being able to have these open conversations about times you're feeling jealous of the other person rather than letting it turn into this negative, toxic dialogue going on between you two. You can be more open about it and honest in the future and make sure it doesn't let it affect your relationship. If this is a friendship that you want to work on maintaining this relationship with this person. But if these outbursts stemming from envy are very consistent and you're kind of fed up with them and this person has no intention of changing their behavior, then I think it's maybe time to distance yourself from this person and close out this friendship. If you feel like it's not serving you anymore, you can't handle it, you don't feel like they want the best for you, and they're not willing to put in the effort to continue this friendship from these new boundaries and standards that you've set. The second point is talking shit about other people. So it is okay to vent about people if they actually did something fucked up and are in the wrong, but there's a difference between simply expressing your emotions and then making an effort to attack someone simply because you think it's fun to degrade other people and it makes you feel better to do so. And I've learned that people only really talk negatively about other people when they're unhappy with something about themselves, and they feel better about bringing down other people, which is a very toxic mentality to have, and it doesn't actually make you a better person. And I realized I don't like to be around people like this because it just brings down my energy, and I just don't like talking shit about other people anymore. And I also don't want to come across as sounding super righteous, because I will admit I've shit talked in the past. I was a high school girl. I was a bitch back then for a brief period, and I was around some people where we did this for fun, and it's something that I've worked on though a lot, and I'm hyper aware about it now. And anytime I am in a situation where people are talking badly about others, I'll simply remove myself from the situation so that I don't have to engage in these conversations and being around this energy, because it isn't good energy to have in my life. And I also feel like shit talking uses so much energy, and you could be investing this energy into so many other things that are actually better for you and help other people. So I don't really understand why people invest so much time and energy into this nowadays. But also, going along with this topic of shit talking, this is an immediate light up red flag for me, and I don't tolerate this anymore at all, which is when someone doesn't respect friends that I have who may not be as close with them, or they're not necessarily friends with. In the past, I've noticed that some of my friends would talk badly about other people I was friends with who weren't necessarily in our friend group, and I realized that's actually really fucked up, and I wasn't okay with that. And they would do it blatantly, like right out in front of me, and even though they might have not been super close with this person was really close to me, and I care about them and love them. And so for this person to completely disregard them and say mean things about them doesn't sit well with me, since that shows a complete lack of respect and loyalty towards my friends and ultimately like our friendship as a whole. So that's something I don't tolerate anymore. I'll call people out on it. And now I'd say loyalty is one of the traits I hold highest in potential relationships, friendships with people, and that's really important to me. Being able to speak kindly about other people, and also if this person is shit talking this other person, then they're probably doing the same thing to me and shit talking about me when I'm not in the room, and that just doesn't sit well with me. And I think true friends are gonna, say nice things about you wherever they go, and they're not gonna feel the need to bring you down around other people. And I mean, I guess there's a difference, like if something's actually bugging them about you and they're just venting to someone, like I said, but there's a difference between expressing your opinion and then intentionally attacking, bringing someone down just simply because you feel like it's fun and you want to. The third point is that the conversation always somehow ends up back on them, and the relationship feels very one-sided. So they rarely will ask you questions, genuine questions about yourself, unless it's for self-interested reasons, like wanting to hear more about a date you went on so they could talk about it with other people, or learn more about this one guy that they also like, or what you got on this test because they want to say how they did better than you. And they don't really seem to care about you and your other interest. And they don't need to be totally, completely ecstatic about whatever it is going on in your life that maybe they're not as tied to or connected to. Or if you have some hobby that they don't express the same interest in as well, that's okay for them not to be super excited about it, or as excited about it as you are. But they should want to support you in whatever it is and hear about it and be curious about what's going on in your life. And if they're only ever talking about themselves and they're not actually listening to what you have to say, they just want to talk freely and just have someone be there just to hear them talk about themselves, that's not a healthy friendship at all. That's very much one-sided, and they're ultimately abusing you emotionally. I guess in some cases I've had that with some people, and they'll just want to vent constantly to you, and they don't even want to hear the advice you have to offer. They just want to talk to someone about it, and it somehow always lands on you. And that's really draining to experience. And yes, part of a friendship is being there to listen to your friends and helping them out in situations when they need advice or they just need to vent simply about something stressful they went to. But if it's constantly recurring and they're not at all considerate of your emotions and how much capacity you have to take in their emotions and what they're going through, then that's indicative of a toxic relationship, and you either need to talk to this person about that or just distance yourself more and maybe start declining some of their calls or letting them know they can't just come into the apartment one day and just start venting out of nowhere. If you're working on your homework or practicing a presentation or just simply trying to relax, like if that's not the energy you want to take in at that moment, you need to tell them that. And they need to understand that you have other things going on in your life as well, and you can't always just sit there and listen to them. It needs to be two-sided. You get to have your input as well, and they can't always just keep turning it back onto them. Relationships are meant to be two-sided, and if it feels like one person's just always talking and they're never really asking questions about the other person or considerate about them, or they really care about what's going on in their life, then that's a red flag for me that you should either, again, talk to someone or maybe just distance yourself, and this isn't a relationship that you want to put as much energy into anymore. The fourth point is when this person changes how they act around different people, and they'll treat you differently depending on who you're both around. And this could occur with guys. That's very common in college, especially maybe around other girls, and they might disregard you if you're around certain people because they want to look cooler or appear more popular, so they're going to invest more energy into talking to a different group of people if you're at some event, and maybe they don't consider you to be as cool. And this is not okay at all, because someone shouldn't be treating the level of respect that they give you depending on the environment and the people that you're around. And if they think other people are more cool than you, so they're going to respect these people more and completely ignore you in certain situations, that's completely fucked up. You don't deserve that at all, and I think you should ditch this person if they're doing that, because they clearly care more about their image than your feelings, and ensuring that this is a safe relationship and you feel valued and respected ultimately. That's a huge thing in relationships, and you shouldn't put up with people who are not treating you with respect, or it's the respect that they give you is contingent upon the circumstances or the environment or the people that you're around. And true friends are going to be supportive of you and respect you in any environment that you're put in and whoever you're around, and they're not going to leave you questioning how close you are, what your relationship is like. You're not going to be questioning how much they respect you or like you. It's going to be consistent no matter who you're around, no matter what environment you're in, and that's indicative of a healthy relationship, not constantly changing it up depending on the environment that you're in with this person. The fifth and final point is when you feel like you can't be yourself around this person, and this one isn't always indicative of a toxic, negative relationship. Sometimes we simply just don't vibe with some people, and that's perfectly okay, and there's no need to try to force these relationships if we're simply not compatible together. But this does become toxic when you're scared of showing your true personality around someone because you think they may judge you or make fun of you or not accept you for who you are. Maybe you feel scared showing your quirky side or sense of humor, or maybe you're dressing a certain way to fit this image that they have of you and to conform to the way they dress as well, because you want to feel accepted by them. And real friends will accept you for who you are. Even as you evolve and change over the years, over the months, they'll accept you at every stage, and you'll feel comfortable being yourself around them, and you won't feel like you always need to put on an act around them either, and you're going to feel energized after being around them rather than depleted, because you're expending so much energy into putting on this facade and second guessing everything you say and the way you act. So to wrap up this episode, I just want to say that friendships are supposed to be uplifting, supportive, fun, positive, empowering, and genuine, not a source of anxiety or stress or feelings of not being good enough or low self-esteem or low self-confidence. You shouldn't feel like you're walking on eggshells around people or you're not good enough for someone, because real friends are going to accept you for who you are. They're going to support you in all of your endeavors, everything you do, and they're going to want genuinely the best for you. And if that's not how you're feeling in your current friendship with some people, maybe it's time to reevaluate how close you are with them. If you need to have a conversation with them, maybe distance yourself or just completely cut ties with them if it's super toxic. I didn't believe this for the longest time myself, but you do deserve friends who are healthy, for you and want the best for you and are truly supportive. And you do deserve these friends, and you're allowed to remove anyone from your life that isn't giving you what you think you deserve. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. If you did like this episode, feel free to leave a rating and or review at the top of the podcast page. I'd really appreciate it. Just trying to get some feedback starting out if you all like the topics I'm talking about, how I'm talking about them, and seeing the best way to develop this podcast so that you all enjoy the direction it's going in. And yeah, thank you so much for listening again. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, rest of your day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.